Hey, what's up guys, my name is Off and welcome to another PC build. This one is different. This is a one that I might be I'm not exactly happy to do it because of a reason. But it's, might as well just do it. This is $1,200 RTX 4070 Super gaming PC build. I did promise I wouldn't make any 40 series gaming PC build because it didn't make sense and it still doesn't. The 40 series Super are essentially the nonsensical release nonsense. I don't want to call it e-waste because I'm really an e-waste. But essentially it's just NVIDIA releasing more just for the sake of money rather than for the sake of performance. With that said, there are some and very few benefit of getting a super. I would say that the next release, hopefully NVIDIA forgets about the whole super things because it just doesn't make sense anymore since the performance is not even that different. So, anyways, this is going to be the best PC build ever since it's using new parts in every single section. CPU, GPU, RAM, even motherboard, everything. I believe this is the best $1,200 gaming PC build you can build with a 4070 Super. But I still wouldn't... I will get to the point though. I will get to the point. Let's just start the build, shall we? Now, starting off with the CPU of choice is going to be the i5 13500. Period. That's it. Like just the 13500. It's a 14 cores processor. It's just a starting model of the i5 13 Gen. And yes, I did mention 14 cores, so pretty much 6 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores. In total, 14. It's very decent. It's better than slightly better, but not to that extent. Better than the Ryzen 5 7600, I believe that's what it's called. But slightly better, not that different. Overall, because of the price point and everything, I felt like it felt like a more better choice comparing to the Ryzen. Ryzen processors are still good. I would still recommend it if you're planning to build an AMD build, but it's mostly depending on the price point. If the AMD build or the AMD parts are cheaper, then sure, especially since AMD is using only DDR5 this time. Of course, even the Intel are also using DDR5, but I could have opted with DDR4, which is cheaper. So just so you know, I did put DDR5 on this one, but I could have saved more money if I would just went with DDR4. And personally, I don't see a big difference. It's fine to go with DDR4. Sure, DDR5 does help, especially since nowadays you can just put one stick of DDR5 RAM on a laptop and it should just work just fine. There's no need for dual channel for DDR5. There is a need for it, but it's not to that extent. DDR4, on the other hand, does require dual channel. But even for DDR5, you would prefer to have a dual channel, but it's not necessary for it. So that's how good the DDR5 is, but that doesn't mean you should go with it, especially since DDR4 is cheaper. So there's that. But with an Intel processor, you have a choice of going either DDR4 or DDR5. With Ryzen, not really. So that's the reason why I prefer to put the i5 on this one, because at least you have choices. Also slightly better, not to that extent, but slightly better. I mean, it's 14 cores, aka 6 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores. So it should perform better in mostly multitasking, especially comparing to the Ryzen one, since there are still 6 performance cores. But at least are very good for 6 performance cores, so there's that point. But other than that, it's we're going with it. It's 13 Gen. It supports new parts. It's a good choice for that price point. For the RAM, we went with the Crucial 16 gigs, so DDR5 4800 megahertz. CL40. It's simple looking RAM. It's fast, at least. Even the naming, I mean, I can't read that. CT2K. It's a simple RAM that performs fast. It's not a gaming RAM or anything like that, but it does the job. So it's a DDR5 RAM. It does the job. Now for the storage, we went with the Sabre Rocket 4.0. It's a 1TB Gen 4 SSD. And I always said that other than Crucial storages and RAMs, which are good, Sabrent have been very great in terms of SSD storages, or storages in general. They're just good. And I was hoping the prices, because they were a bit expensive back then, but the prices just got less, and it became like the most preferred one, in my opinion, in any build, to be honest. They're fast, they're good priced, just like the Gen 3 back then, which were the best ones in the market. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, it's perfect for this build. I had to add it up. Now, for the motherboard, we went with the ASRock B760M PG Lightning. It's a DDR5 ready motherboard, especially for this CPU. It has most things you require: a good heatsink for your VRMs, Gen 4 and M.2 SSD with, I believe, even 2 extra M.2 SSD for Gen 3, though. Still really decent. 4 RAM slots, and overall pretty decent. It's a simple but nice motherboard. Even the ports are more normal, decent. Fine. Actually, that's another thing that makes an Intel CPU less good compared to AMD. AMD motherboards are better, I know, but for this one it's still decent. It's a good start. So these are the ports of the motherboard. You get two USBs 2.0s, and all being USBs 3.0s, including the Type C. At least there's a Type C, but it's not Gen 2, it's a Gen 1. With the AMD, you would probably expect at least a Gen 2 Type C connection on their motherboard. So that I give points to AMD on that part, especially for the same price point. So Intel, in terms of motherboards, they've never been that great, but they did increase in their quality through time to at least add a Type C port, even if it's a Gen 1. At least they did something, but they need a little bit more improvement. At least the Ethernet port, if I'm not mistaken, is 2.5 gigabit. That's nice. That's nice. Although they could have just put a 1 gigabit and increase the Type C and Type A ports on that point. But sure, it's fine. It's fine. I can go with it. So, decent motherboard. It does the job. It's close to being as good as an AMD motherboard. So, definitely recommend it. Now, for the graphics card, we went with the Zotac Twin Edge RTX 4070 Super. The 40 series Super are essentially the releases of just a slight power up to the previous models, if there is even a slight power up in the first place, including, since if I remember, I can't speak anymore, but that's how stupid the Super series are. But essentially the Supers are just a couple of FPS more stronger than the normal ones, which is a little bit nonsense, and there's no reason to get it. With that said, I believe the 4070 Super is a slight better power up to the 4070, but not to that extent. That's the reason why I don't feel comfortable making this video in that way. Yeah, it exists. I might as well just add it up. I would recommend, if you were planning to get the 40 series in the first place, if you're fine paying, I believe it's like a couple of dollars more. I think like 50. Not sure if it's $100 more, but if you're just fine paying a little bit more, then I guess you could go with it. But there's not that much of a difference. I mean, it's still 12 gigs of VRAM, which 12 gigs is great and everything. And I do mention that 12 gigs is not that bad. It's great. But I believe nowadays people actually prefer, especially for newer games that are coming up that requires even more VRAM. 16 gigs would have been better. But you know, the 4070 series of the 40 series is essentially the best option to get out of all the NVIDIA options that exist out there. So I would say yes, I would put this on the build. I would probably recommend this out of all the graphics card that was released. With that said, I wouldn't really say it's the best options, but they're the best option in the first place. I mean, the Supers in general are just a weird release to be released in the first place, but they got released. They are more like I don't want to call them super of something. They're more like a refurbished or fixed version of the previous one. That's pretty much what they are. They're just, oh, there's some mistakes in there. Let me just fix it. It's done. It's the same though. So, you know, you could go with this if you want to go with the previous one, or if you find something cheaper, sure. But I mean, it's part of the video, so might as well. It's a 4070 Super PC build. It's including the video. Now, for the power supply, we went with the APVIA Galaxy 650 watts gold semi-modular power supply. So, it's semi-modular, which fixes some problems with dealing with cables, since you will have some modular connections to connect, or if in case you don't want to connect, it's fine. but you're still dealing with some cables anyways. It's gold certified and 650 watts, which is the exact amount you need to power this PC build, unless you're dealing with an Ryzen 7 or Intel Core i7, which in that case you would actually prefer to have a 750 watts. With that said, honestly, I'm gonna say it. I'm surprised that the 4070 Super does not require that much power comparing to the 4070. That was not the case with the 30 series, where the 3070 and the 3070 Super had a different power supply scenario for no reason. So I'm glad they also fixed that. That's at least a good redemption to what they did before. But you know, still is that part though. Or it's whatever. But you know, still not bad. 650 watts, good enough. That's decent, so we're going with it. Now, when I say you should always put this case whenever you're building something that's more than $1,200, I mean it. We're going with the Fractal Design Pop Air ATX case. It's Fractal Design in terms of making cases. They've always been a good case manufacturer, and the Pop Air is not an excuse or not something to exclude from it. So it's good. It has great ventilation. It's a mesh case. It has a fan in the back and I believe a fan or two, but I don't remember really well, in the front. So a lot of ventilation. You can put even water cooling this thing. You can pretty much do a lot of things in this case, and it looks good. It looks like a cool design, simple but niche. Like, what else can I say? It's a good case. So, I know I've been putting this case in every single video, but let's be honest, it's a good case. What else can I do? The total price for this PC build is around $1,200.91. So, without shipping is exactly $1,200. So, the exact amount of price for this. Great price for this PC build. There are some things here and there, like the 4070 Super. But overall, this is a great PC build if you're planning to play on 1080p or even 1440p, depending on the game. It's very good. It's very decent. It's very strong. It does a job. I personally would say it's a good price for this. So, yeah. So that is it for today's video. Again, I prefer that the 4070. First, they made a great discount price on it just to make things a little bit better. But also because, I don't know, the 4070s or the 40 series Supers got released with some mixed feelings, mostly negative because of the fact that they, especially since I believe the 4080 Super and the 4080 doesn't have any difference, to be honest, and the 4070 Ti and the Ti Super, okay, that one does have some sort of a difference. And even the 4070 and the 4070 Super does have some sort of a difference, but not to that extent. So it is a real release. It feels more like a fix, like they just fixed the issues in some ways, rather than making an actual different graphics card. But it is what it is, I guess. Or they had like some spare parts to just build a graphics card, I guess. So you know, it exists, but there isn't an actual reason to exist, if that makes sense. But it exists. So if you want to build a PC build with those parts, go ahead. I would say sure, why not. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give a like, comment in this video. I know you guys like to comment on the videos by saying like you could have gone with a different parts or whatever. They're going with this or that. And I would say yes, but this video is about the 4070 Super. So keep the 4070 Super. If there's other parts you can recommend, like a different RAM or a different CPU or different anything of the graphics card, then sure. You could recommend a different graphics card, but at the end of the day, the video idea is about the 4070. I like how the last video you guys were talking about, and in fairness, that video was more like a different scenario. Like, it's fine. You could go with any different graphics card as long as the price point is the same. But there are the videos where you recommend that, or I put the title of that graphics card, and they for some reason want to mention a different graphics card, which breaks the whole thing. But yeah, it's all about the 4070 Super, not anything else. So please, but again, you can comment whatever you want to comment. Anyways, at the end of the day, it's free to talk whatever you have on your mind. So there's that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Anyways, subscribe to for more content. Give a like. Share this video. The last video did very well. Thank you so much for watching it. I was surprised people wanted to watch it, but I guess, and I mean, it was something that was more interesting to watch. So thank you so much for watching it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And let's hit the 1,000 subscribers, okay? We're that close. We're actually that close. All right, peace.